CityCast Pittsburgh is brought to you today by Jones Dairy Farm. They are a 7th-generation, family-owned and operated meat maker with products like dry-aged bacon, all-natural sausage, and America's favorite center-cut Canadian bacon. Their premium meats are all gluten-free, perfect for busy mornings, and available all over the place here in Pittsburgh. I checked out the map on their website, jonesdairyfarm.com, and got back dozens of our grocery stores. You can even get their sausage in pork, chicken, or turkey, all no preservatives, no additives, no MSG, nitrates, or fillers. Just fresh ingredients from Jones Dairy Farm, making breakfast better since 1889. Today on CityCast Pittsburgh, it is the season of lights here in the city, and there are even more coming soon. On December 26th, the mayor and community leaders are lighting a 12-foot-tall menorah at the city-county building. And did you know that back in the 1980s, there was a fight over this symbol of Hanukkah that made it all the way to the Supreme Court? Today, we're bringing back a conversation with Jon Pushinsky, one of the lawyers on that case, to talk about Pittsburgh in the national spotlight, plus what he thought it felt like to eat lunch in the Justice's cafeteria. It's Wednesday, December 11th. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. Before we jump into today's episode, I want to remind Yins that we are in the middle of our year-end membership campaign. You can support our show right now and get a free CityCast Pittsburgh tote bag. It is big, it is black and white. You can seal it with a zipper. It's rad. By heading to membership.citycast.fm. The tote bag deal is only good for this week, so please get on it. Okay, here's today's show. Jon, I am so excited to talk to you today. You were one of the lawyers that sued Allegheny County back in 1986 over 2 religious displays on government property. The menorah, of course, next to this Christmas tree at the city-county building, and also a nativity scene, or a creche, which at the time was at the county courthouse. I want to know, what was the legal issue in your mind with these displays?
Sure. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution says that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. According to our history, that has been a clause of the Constitution that has required a separation of church and state.
Right.
This actually protected 2 values. One is that it allowed the individual to believe in the divine as he or she wanted to or didn't want to, without impacting that person's relationship with government. And 2 is it elevated religion, because when government gets involved with religion, it typically demeans it. By way of example, if one looks at any coin, the phrase "in God we trust" appears on the coin. In my religious tradition, the name of God is considered holy, and one would not consider placing that object containing the name of God on the floor. It is revered, and yet money exchanges hands, it's dropped on the ground, no one thinks anything of it, so that actually the name of God becomes meaningless when it is usurped by government and used for secular purposes.
And before our recording, you shared that you're Jewish. I'm sure that's informed so much about your legal practice. When talking about it amongst our team, we thought it was really interesting that you pinpointed the menorah and the creche, but not the Christmas tree. Why didn't you include it too?
Well, there was a very strategic reason for not including it is we, even though most non-Christians may believe that the Christmas tree has a religious is a religious symbol of the Christian holiday. We did not think the court would take our cases seriously by challenging the tree because many people characterize the tree as the secular symbol of the Christmas holiday. And we thought that if we had also challenged the Christmas tree, it may have diluted the effect of our arguments on the two symbols that were obviously more religious, the nativity scene, which was crowned with an angel bearing a banner saying, Gloria in excelsis Deo, glory to God in the highest, and the Hanukkah menorah, which is a symbol of the menorah, which was maintained in the Holy of Holies in the temple in Jerusalem. And so we focused on the two symbols that we thought would be widely recognized as religious symbols.
Fair to say you picked your battles.
Correct.
So the plaintiffs you represented included the ACLU and people from the city with all sorts of religious backgrounds. The defendants were our local governments, the city and the county. What was their argument to keeping these religious displays up?
The county's argument with respect to the nativity scene was that Christmas was a national holiday and that the government had the right to celebrate a national holiday with symbols. With respect to the city, we first wrote letters to both governmental entities prior to filing the lawsuit, requesting that the displays be removed. Both entities refused. The city then modified its display by putting a sign on the Christmas tree base celebrating the season of lights, and claimed that since it celebrated Christmas with the Christmas tree, it should also be able to have a symbol of the Jewish holiday. Of course, this does nothing for the non-Jewish and non-Christian members of our community. And I, at one point, facetiously asked the city solicitor what he would do if the Hindus wanted to put up a 40-foot statue of Ganesh, the multi-armed elephant god, and place it next to the Christmas tree in the Hanukkah menorah, because once they start putting up symbols like that, they cannot discriminate between different traditions and symbology.
And what did the city solicitor say in return?
I don't recall. It was a facetious question.
It was plucky, I'll give you that.
But, being plucky can be fun. I remember one of the county commissioners being quoted as saying that the nativity scene would come down over his dead body, and my reply was, I would not ask the court to order that relief.
It sounds like you were clever to behold in court.
Do you want to learn more about campaigns and politics, or want to get more involved in your local community? Attend the Ready to Run campaign training for women on Saturday, January 25th at Chatham University. It's hosted by the PA Center for Women in Politics. The nonpartisan campaign training is your one-stop shop to learn more, whether you're a newbie, just getting started, or are getting ready to launch your own campaign. The day-long program covers campaign basics like fundraising, communications, and developing your campaign plan. Past participants have gone on to win at every level of office, federal, state, and local. Plus, there's also a pre-conference for women of color on Friday night, January 24th. You can register at pcwp.org and click on Education and Training. Register now to get the early bird price.
Live Nation Pittsburgh and 102.5 WDVE proudly present Pittsburgh Plays The Cure at the Roxy Theater on Saturday, December 14th, 2024, one night only. If you're a fan of The Cure and you love tribute shows and you like hearing local artists, this is the performance for you. More than 30 Pittsburgh musicians will play tribute to The Cure by performing iconic hits like Just Like Heaven, Love Song, and Friday I'm in Love. This is the 5th installment of Pittsburgh's beloved concert series that celebrates legendary bands and showcases the amazing talent of local artists. And the best part is, while you're enjoying this music, you will also be supporting local musicians because proceeds benefit the Pittsburgh Plays Artists Fund. So don't miss out on Pittsburgh Plays The Cure this Saturday, December 14th at the Roxy Theater. Tickets are on sale now. Visit pittsburghplays.com for more details.
Hi, David Plotz here. I'm the CEO of CityCast, and I'm here to ask you to become a member of CityCast in your city. CityCast is doing something no one else has ever tried. We're building a network of daily local podcasts and newsletters in cities around the country. My CityCast colleagues and I passionately believe that cities are incredible and that we can make them even better. So that's why we've got amazing, super local daily podcasts and newsletters made by locals, for locals in 13 cities. Little by little, every day, we're making our cities a little bit kinder, a little bit more interesting, more joyful, more informed. But this isn't easy or cheap. We've got 5 full-time employees just in your city. If you become a member, your financial support will help keep us bringing you what matters in your city. The news and events, the stories and controversies, the lists of the best ice creams and worst intersections. Please become a member today at membership.citycast.fm.
Hey, CityCasters, I just want to quickly remind you that we are in the middle of our end-of-year membership campaign. If you want to check out the details, head over to membership.citycast.fm. You know, here at CityCast Pittsburgh, we try hard to bring you stories and ideas from across the city that you might not otherwise hear. I feel like today's episode is a really good example of that. A lot of people pass that menorah every year, but I would wager most of them are not aware that it became the center of this whole big religious freedom case. Here on this podcast, we really try to help you consider the context of the place that you call home. And we hope that all of our stories, whether they are deep dives into Pittsburgh history or connecting the dots on an issue that's affecting your life right now, we want all of our work to help you feel more grounded here, to give you ways to act, to make Pittsburgh better, and to always give you some little nugget to talk about at your next holiday party. But we need your help to keep doing all of that. Your support really does mean a lot to us. And don't forget, if you join this week, you're going to get an exclusive CityCast Pittsburgh tote bag. I don't even have one. They are that special. Sign up at membership.citycast.fm.
Well, so this case makes it all the way to the Supreme Court in 1989. 3 years you worked on this. What was it like for you as an attorney to go there, to, stand on those steps and bear that mantle, as it were?
Speaking for myself only, and there were 3 of us, it was fairly overwhelming. I had never been to the Supreme Court before. The 3 of us went a couple of days early to scope it out, to sit in on other arguments, to see how it went. And I recall that when it came time to argue our case, and some gong goes off and the 9 justices step out from behind a purple curtain, and we were standing before the justices who would decide our case. I remember, and I don't know if you're going to be able to play this, but I remember thinking, oh shit, I really know what I'm doing by bringing this case here. Am I doing the right thing?
I imagine it's got to be so intimidating. You're at the highest level of our judiciary and there's so much pomp and circumstance. It's not an experience most of us get. So we'll jump ahead a little bit. You got a big decision and the Supreme Court chose something unexpected. The menorah could stay, but the creche could not. What was your initial reaction to this?
I thought it was a very big mistake on the part of the court, and it was also highly unexpected on my part. I believe that the court would either allow both displays or strike both displays. I think that by allowing the display of the religious symbol of the Jewish holiday, and the court acknowledged that the menorah was a religious symbol, not a secular symbol, and disallowing the religious symbol of the Christian holiday, I thought that the court was actually issuing a decision that would foster divisiveness in the community, and that there would be a lot of questions raised as to why should the Jews be allowed to have their symbol, and we, the Christians, now allowed to have our symbol. So I was very surprised by that. But in any event, that was the decision.
Well, so this ruling comes out in 1989. In the years since, what would you say has been the legacy of this case? Because it didn't just affect two holiday displays in Pittsburgh. I'm sure usually when there's a case from the Supreme Court, it impacts a lot more beyond one single instance.
Well, it reinforced the importance of the separation of church and state in the entire body of legal decisions up to that point in time. And there were efforts to minimize the value of separation between government and religion, and so that this case stood as a bulwark against the efforts to step back from that principle of our government.
Right. Well, and so let's talk about the fallout a little. These days, if someone's strolling through downtown this time of year, you will see the enormous Christmas tree in the city county building, the big portico there, and the menorah right next to it. And then they moved the creche down the street. Now it's in the U.S. Steel Plaza, so on private property. I'm curious how you feel when you see these displays, like the tree and the menorah, still at the city county building today.
I don't think they belong there. Government should enable individuals to celebrate their individual holidays, but government doesn't celebrate religion. And so that the display of the Hanukkah menorah is an insult to Judaism. There are some Jews who like it and think that if the Christian symbol should be up, then so should the Jewish symbol, but I don't accept that view personally.
What about seeing the creche on public display still, but not on government property anymore? Does that feel like a win?
Yeah, individuals, private citizens have the right to put up whatever symbols they want, other than the fact that federal bankruptcy court is housed in the Steel Building. And
Good point, Jon.
And I once kidded the chief judge of our district about perhaps I should sue him to force the federal court to remove bankruptcy court from the Steel Building. But I was just joking around with at that point. But the Steel Plaza is private property. They can put up whatever they want. I have nothing to say about it.
Jon, I feel like your jokes at parties must be taken with an extra grain of salt if that's how you present them. Jon Pushinsky is a lawyer focused on civil rights and civil liberties litigation. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you, Megan. It's been a pleasure. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. One more reminder, it is our end of year campaign right now, our membership campaign. Become a CityCast Pittsburgh member and support local journalism that connects you to Pittsburgh. Go to membership.citycast.fm right now to join. And if you are already a member, thank you. We could not do this work without you. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Talk to you again soon.
And so the morning of our argument, we had breakfast in the Supreme Court cafeteria. And I'm pushing
Also not an experience most people get.
right. And I'm pushing my tray down the line in the cafeteria, and I look to my right, and one of the justices is standing next to me getting his breakfast. And then when we got our food and went into the room where we were eating, another justice was sitting at the next table having breakfast with his clerks. And I remember wanting to run around the room asking the justices to autograph my brief.